breath you take will lead you closer to a special place within your never ever.しないよ積み上げたちぎれてた未来図を眺め息を止めて錆びついた記憶の針真ん中ぐるぐる回るよ As I close my eyes 残すこともなくこぼすこともなく行くあてもなく I know that this is what I want This is what I need 今も繰り返していく残像傷ついた過去の僕らはままでそんな空回り変わらない日々はもう閉ざしていくんだ So now これが僕が望んだ My never ever land 砂よナイフのように突き刺すことだがこの苦しみやさ笑って何もできずに震える声を飲み込んで孤独のトラに落ちてゆく迷い込んだこの足取りつまずいて存在感を失って涙で染まった悲劇のステージ狂わしく心の中フラフラ踊るよ As I take your hand 駆け抜けてゆく心の記憶色あせてゆく I know that this is what I want This is what I need 明日も繰り返していたんぞ飛び出したい住む世界が消えないままでそんな空回り変わらない日々はもっと閉ざしていくんだ So nowこれは僕が望んだ My never ever land 目覚めて夢の後のような木漏れ日がまぶたの裏染み渡る全てが叶ったはずだと思ってもまた落ちてゆく As I close my eyes 残すこともなくこぼすこともなく行くあてもなく I know that this is what I want This is what I need 今も繰り返していく残像傷ついた過去の僕らは言えないままでそんな空回り変わらない日々はもっと閉ざしていくんだ So now これは僕が望んだ My never ever land
16 teams have fought long and hard in this bracket for a chance to prove themselves to be the greatest six-digit roster to come out of the Pacific. After close-fought matches and convincing sweeps, three teams remain to fight for the throne, and who else other than the top three seeds to have a spot on the podium, all in contention to become champions of the tournament. China, the top three seed, who convincingly took out their current opponent in semis previously. They had confirmed the podium for their team, but had fallen to the kings of the bracket in the Philippines. For a chance at redemption, they must face Indonesia, who through adversity, through losers finals, clawed their way back in a destructive fashion, almost sweeping South Korea and Taiwan to make it back here. The winner of this match claims the shot to potentially kill the king. Top two on the line, the chance of winning it all on the line. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Six-Digit Asia Pacific Cup. Losers Grand Finals is upon us. Indonesia versus China. Welcome to the stream. I'm Gabber SS, joining you all in the commentators booth. And alongside with me here in the commentators booth for a TriCast are Gammy Crayola and Wilwon. Welcome to the stream, guys. What are your thoughts on the match that we have upon us right here this moment?
Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much, Gabber SS, for that amazing intro to the match. I could have not said it better. I definitely was not expecting such a speech from you coming into this match, but I am pleasantly surprised. As you mentioned before, ladies and gentlemen, this is the match you came to watch. Seed 2 versus Seed 3. It is as close as it can get. This is the Six-Digit Asia Pacific Cup lower side grand finals, and it is the qualifiers for the top 1 position match that we will be seeing next week. Of course, will be taking the mic when it comes to being the analyst in the commentary booth, and meanwhile Gabba SS will be our play-by-play specialist for this match.
Yay.
I will be dropping in left and right for both sides, so hope you guys don't get sick of my voice, but moving along to the match, William, what is your take on the matchup that we have on the ground?
Yeah, as you mentioned, we have an absolute banger of a match. I mean, it is probably the closest match. Of course, these two teams have faced before in the semi-finals, where I believe China were able to take the lead by 6-3. However, a key thing to mention is that Indonesia were missing one of their key players for the match in Full Ultra, which they were not present for the match at all. So I think, hopefully, given that both teams have their full rosters this time, this match should be a very, very close one, as you mentioned.
That is right, Will. I'm gonna drop a quick introduction for the teams. I think everybody knows a lot of them very well. On China, you know, we have players like Aikmi, who has been showing time and time again that they are the up and rising 6 digit in the scene, right? One of the most well-known players currently, one of the most well-known new bloods coming after the 6WC 2024 era. And meanwhile, you know, we have a bunch of rising stars. I mean, Falling Spirit has been in the scene for quite a long time, and it's only now where they really started making their mark. And you know, you have players like Creep as well from the side of Team China who are equally as capable. And meanwhile, on the side of Team Indonesia, I mean, you can't say Team Indonesia without one of their star players, Imar Gading, coming in from the old 6WC 2024. In fact, coming in from the old 2022-2023 rosters of the 6WC rosters of Indonesia. They are one of the most well-known players in 6-digit and one of the most well-known 200k players back in the day. And I think they are a complete and utter asset to Indonesia A going into this match. Of course, like you mentioned before, right, full Ultra as well, being present, hopefully present for this match, will allow them to turn the tides alongside players like Hint and Necho, who have been very, very solid throughout the course of this tournament. A bunch of schedule issues, unfortunately, had to happen in between that, but ladies and gentlemen, as we are, you know, done introducing the teams, we are gonna switch right back onto the ground. It's gonna be our protect phase to kickstart the match.
That is right. We see some pretty expected protects here from both sides. Indonesia protecting the hidden 2, which is not surprising at all to me, given that China has shown to be pretty weak on the gimmick side and generally on anything that isn't super conventional. A lot of their players are more used to that sort of conventional, you know, EM speed sort of skill sets, while maybe not as accustomed to more tournament skill sets such as, you know, tech and gimmick. So it's understandable why Indonesia have gone with this hidden 2 protect here, given that they have players such as Variel and Imar who are both, you know, quite comfortable on those gimmicks. Meanwhile, on the side of China, we have this DT3 protect here. Pretty interesting, actually. I might have expected them to go with a DT2 protect, because this DT3 is, you know, more of a finger control-y map. It sits at a very high BPM, of course, 285, which is, you know, really, really high for a 6-digit pool. But I think what's more interesting about the DT2 is that it is incredibly stamina heavy and sits way up there at 202 or something BPM, if I remember correctly. And it is just straight streams, which makes it really, really inaccessible to a lot of 6-digit players. So I'm a little bit shocked that they didn't go with a DT2 protect, and like, you know, Indonesia going straight with the DT2 ban, which is, you know, pretty unsurprising here. I think China for the next ban is probably looking at definitely maybe a no mod 6 ban. Want to get rid of the other gimmick map in the pool immediately, and as for something else, maybe something like a hidden or a hard rock. I know China are generally slightly weaker on the mods compared to Indonesia, who I think have it as their main strong point coming to this matchup, right? So I think those will be the bans that we're looking for from both these teams.
Yep, and now we are just waiting on the next ban coming from Indonesia, if I'm not mistaken. Hopefully we should get to see that very, very soon. Oh wait, no, this is the Chinese ban. Never mind, this is Chinese ban, and they do in fact go for the no mod 6 ban. So yeah, you're very right in that prediction. We're looking to kill out as much of the gimmick as possible in the pool. And so that no mod 6 being one of the hardest maps in the pool, at least from a reading standpoint, 100%. They do not want to contest with that whatsoever. But we are going to get into the matchup with China having the opening pick in their hands. I mean, they could definitely go for quite a few things here, right? You still have your no mod 5 that you can play around with in the same vein as your DT3. You have your DT1 to play with. Alongside, along that sort of spectrum, you also have the no mods that you can totally pick into, and we do in fact see the no mod 5 custom song being the first pick. You love to see it. You'll love to see it, dude.
Yeah, this is no mod 5 is a custom song and map by Prody. very grateful for his contributions here. But as for the map itself, this is just gonna be your, speed pick of the pool, sitting way up there at 230 BPM, break core, maybe not as stamina intensive as the DT2, so it's understandable why this wasn't protected, I guess. But this map is just very, it has enough burst to keep all speed players happy, I would hope, but it also has a lot of very speedy kick slider patterns,
I love buzz sliders.
I love buzz sliders. Yeah, I love buzz sliders, which can be very hard to hit if you are not controlling yourself on the speed pick, right? It is very easy to end up mashing and then you just lose all control in your aim. But on a map like this, you need the aim control as well so that you don't miss on those like kick sliders and buzz sliders.
Yeah, 100%. Comfort is the name of the game on a map like this, and given how of course Indonesia are going into this matchup, right, banning the DT2 immediately signals a weakness when it comes to the tapping, and China are just looking to abuse that. I think this No Mod 5 pick is the best pick that they could have gone for off the back of the information that they already have, and frankly I think this is not going to be a contested pick whatsoever. China is just far and away a lot more consistent than Indonesia when it comes to these speed picks, and I would not be surprised to see this point being rather decisive in favor of China. In essence, right, you usually want your first pick to be your second protect if you had one, and that's definitely what that's definitely what No Mod 5 is for China. But of course, go for it.
No, yeah, as you mentioned, yeah, you want to try and get as many of your solid picks out of the way as possible before the second ban phase, so that your maps don't get banned. But yeah, as we get into this no mod, yeah.
All right, and we should be off to the races, ladies and gentlemen. To kickstart this grand finals match of the 6-digit Asia Pacific Cup, it's gonna be Prody. Thank you for staying by my side. No Mod 5. Let's jump straight into it.
No Mod 5. This is where China is comfortable with. They must have prepared for it considering they went for it as their first pick. Speed, it's always a scary one to go off the bat because it's so tricky, especially when you're not warmed up or feeling too hot right off the bat. You already see a miss coming from WASD from Indonesia, not helping them one bit. But still in contention. Accuracy a bit low from hints there, but it's still 4 FCs to 3, and it's still the first quarter. Plenty of map left to go. The burst, they're not that difficult off the bat. There's still a lot of combo for both teams to sort of gain here, but with the miss coming in from WASD, that lead is going to extend a little bit further to the red side, creeping over there, especially as the buzz slider catches him off guard. And unless we see a miss from the Chinese roster here, going into the next quarter, I feel like that lead is just gonna extend over past the 6-digit mark even further, especially with more misses from WASD.
Oh, misses just climb all across the board as you get into the KI, and I mean this map is very calm in its earlier sections, but very demanding in its KIs. And Imar Gayding gonna be the last one to go down the side of Team Indonesia. Misses all across the board, as well as from Team China. A complete lobby reset, in fact, but it is all in the name of those early combos. China was just able to hold better accuracy, better combo going into this KI, so they fare a lot better when the carnage of this No Mod 5 starts to kick in.
They are reaping the rewards, and they are reaping the suffering that Indonesia are currently going through right now. From a 90k lead, I look back and that has pretty much quintupled over to 400k. And no combos on the board except for maybe Variel, but that immediately disappears as I mentioned it. Indonesia, as you mentioned, is not looking good on this map. They're not even close to contesting China on the mechanics that this has to offer. The bursts, it's 3 misses at the same time. Each time I look at the board, and with practically no combos at all except from Kyomu, I think this is pretty much just done and dusted. 500k, no contest whatsoever. Indonesia They left this in the open, and China is abusing it off the bat. That lead completely insurmountable. A couple of sliders left to go before the map reaches its conclusion, and it seems like China are here to play. They're looking to get a convincing first point off the bat in the grand finals here. Nomad 5, definitely not a bad pick whatsoever. Creep may mess up the slider there, but they're not gonna mess up the first choice of the match, that's for sure.
Yep, and what a way to win it, right? A decisive 535k lead for China going into their first pick. That's exactly how you want to kickstart this match. A confident point on the board for Team China. But once again, it is only the first pick, and now the pick is put into the hands of Indonesia for them to make the difference. So the question is, will Indonesia, or does Indonesia have a pick left? Do they have a bullet in their gun in order to shoot back from this Nomad 5 pick from China?
Yeah, it is very hard to say honestly because with speed, right? Usually, if you're favored on speed, the other team is not going to be very strong, and those sorts of speed picks are sort of guaranteed, right? But when you're a team such as Indonesia, where your strengths lie in an entire mod pool, such as Hidden or Hard Rock, you have less of those sort of like guaranteed picks, right? Because anything can sort of happen. So I'm quite interested to see where Indonesia goes with their first pick, right? They do seem to be more confident on the Hidden, given that they did protect that Hidden 2. So I think maybe they'll go with something like Hidden 1 or Hidden 3. But, they could very well go with something in the Hard Rock pool as well.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, they have a lot of options at their disposal, right? And we do, in fact, see them going into the Hidden 3. Probably the most mild Hidden 3 that we've had this and throughout the entirety of 6 APC, which is pretty crazy to think about, given how this is a Project Hexagon pool.
Yeah, you're absolutely right there. This Hidden 3 is pretty tame compared to most of the Hidden 3s we've seen in the past. This one, mostly just a test of your snap aim, really. It's kind of ulty, but in the end, it is just a test of how well you can control your cursor with regards to hitting these snappy patterns.
Yeah, 100%. I think this is a very good counterbalance to what we saw from Nomad 3, which is rather flow intensive. This map is a very good parallel, comparatively mild. When you look at the mapper of this map, Amatista is known for their crazy sliders. This map is very, very controlled and very fair. I will say, for all intents and purposes, very, very fair. So if you can consistently hit these, which I do not think that Indonesia will necessarily struggle with, this will be an easy point for you. But under the nerves, under the pressure of the grand finals, when the whole world is watching you, that could definitely be that's definitely easier said than done. And China, I mean, is no stranger to the mods, all things considered, right? It is not like speed where there is a certain benchmark that you need to hit. No, this map is rather accessible, all things considered. That's been a word that we've been throwing around whenever we talk about these kinds of early picks. And so I think for all intents and purposes, this Hidden 3 is definitely a lot more accessible.
Yeah, as you mentioned, it is very fair. I think, if you can hit these patterns consistently, which is quite a challenge in itself, given they do get the spacing gets pretty wide in places. I think anyone who can do that consistently will get a very good score on this, because otherwise there isn't really much else to miss on.
Yeah, very rightfully so. But with that, let's jump into Indonesia's first pick. It's going to be Kikuo Oboreru Ucho Neko. Let's jump straight into it.
Hidden 3. Hidden has been sort of the mod set that I've seen Indonesia abusing through the bracket, and it's one that they have won successfully against China in the past. We did mention, though, the accessibility of this map definitely going to be favoring China, as they're not too comfortable on the gimmicks as compared to Indonesia, but we'll see if that pays off. This map, it's Air 9, the density is still there, so you have to be very careful with the snap that this map has to offer. It's so easy to find any missteps along some of these jumps. They're very, very short and they're very, very
Ooh.
small, but you can already see the BPM and the density. It catches Necho Ladernde and Kirara off guard. 3 FCs to 3, it's the first KI. More misses to come in. Indonesia, they lose another one of their FCs in Variel. Their core player is Aris goes down 3v1, and Indonesia, you mentioned that this might be a good pick for them right off the bat, but it seems like they're collapsing right here, right now.
I mean, it is not over till it's over. We still have Imargating with the FC for Indonesia, but Aikmi right there, the even beat Imargating in terms of it, or in terms of accuracy, matching the FC. Not to mention W Woods, very very solid FC as well, albeit with not as good of accuracy as Aikmi. But that's it. We are going to be getting into our next low section. A bunch of free combo, which unfortunately a double miss from Aikmi and Dubli from China. But Imargating finds a miss as well. What is happening on the board? And in a shocking turn of events, the combo leads have completely shifted on its sides. And we see Varial and Necho leading the Indonesian pursuit, but Nacho goes down, falling sprite, and Kira Kara right there to respond to that miss from Verdiel, going into this almost second half of the map. What is even happening now, Gabba?
You mentioned this map might be accessible because of how simple the ult is, but you can't ignore the fact that the AR being in play, it's Air 9, it's way denser than what you're used to, and on hidden, that can be a make or break for your team. And Indonesia, it seems like they're not too ready for it. They're finding a lot of mistakes, they're mistapping all over the place, and their accuracies are considerably worse than some of what we're seeing from China. And with the combos disappearing, continuing to disappear with Necho missing, although Kirara does trade, although Aikmi does trade, it's still Falling Spirit with the higher 560 combo to try and shut Indonesia down. This could be a potential breakpoint. Necho misses again. Falling Spirit does go down. 3 FCs to 1. Doobie has the higher combo, but he has 3 players looking down on him. Varial is soon to go down afterwards, and it's a 1v2. I don't know if there's going to be enough density. I don't know if there's going to be enough time. It's a 200k, and Imar goes down. It's only Izaris, and he's not enough. He will go down as well. And Indonesia, they had this pick, but it seems like they're gonna lose it as soon as they go for it. Indonesia, a massive mistake off the bat. You always want the first pick to go well for you right before the second ban phase, but no, a massive mistake. The efforts of China will be enough. Their consistency and accuracy well enough. With 400Ks going into the last KI, there's nothing that Indonesia can do with Doobie's 700 combo mitigating whatever sort of efforts that Indonesia has. This final jump section, so tricky, so difficult to snap on, but Doobie is hitting everything. He is finding all of it, and Indonesia will not get anything on the board.
I mean, that's just how it is, right? I think going into this pick, Indonesia wanted to take that gambit. They wanted to get that accessible map that they knew they could lose out of the way earlier. Because, you know, the thing about Hidden 3, right, it might be a modded map and might favor Indonesia. But at the end of the day, they can never be too sure that later on in the match, they'll be in the right hit space to pick it and win it. So they decided to go for it early. But unfortunately, China had other things planned up their sleeves and instantly hit back with an incredible team score. I mean, you just look at all the scores from China, right? Very consistent, no player dropping below 400k, and in fact, Doobly Wood leading the lobby with the 525k score. You were talking about, you know, Imargating and Imargating being the carry for Indonesia, but it's clear to see that the collective and combined efforts of Team China just completely outweighed anything Indonesia had to bring to the table.
Yeah, and this I think is going to be a bit of a recurring theme through this match, right? I think China have more players that scale well into this SR, while Indonesia are like relying on those sort of carry and pop-off performances from players like Imar, Full Ultra, right? And you know, in a pool like this, it's quite risky to rely on that sort of stuff, because if those players do happen to find misses, then your entire plan is screwed, right? So it's obviously a bit of a gamble that they were willing to take, but unfortunately it just did not play out well for them.
Yeah, and that is just the nature of taking risks when the stakes are so high. Definitely not what you like to see, but China is but going back to the match, China instantly shoots back with the Fremont 2, looking to capitalize on that breakpoint, take that match, convert that breakpoint into a lead. And interestingly enough, they're gonna do it on Fremont 2.
Yeah, Fremont 2, a pretty interesting choice for China actually, because you would expect for something like free mods, where Indonesia is favored on modded picks, that free mods would be sort of a no-brainer for Indonesia to pick. But China opting to go for this free mod 2 instead, and that strikes me as a little bit weird, because this free mod 2, as with most free mod 2s, is going to be your standard anti-mod CS5 AR8 pick. But I think the one thing about this map that makes me more confident in what China's going for is that this map is very favored on easy. And I am aware that China has up to 2, maybe even more players that could play this on easy in a Falling Spirit, and I believe I think it's Doobie that can also fill on easy, and this map just gets a lot easier on easy. I would even go as far to say that it is easy favored, just because it becomes very consistent on easy. There is no weird patterns to trip you off, right? There's no heavy overlaps, and given that the CS gets boosted up to CS 2.5 with easy, it just gets a lot more consistent compared to playing it on hidden or even no mod, right? So I feel pretty confident that China is going with the right pick here, just because I think they are banking on that sort of easy carries.
Yeah, 100%. I think one thing to note about a free mod pick is, right, well, even though Indonesia is the team that we say is favored towards more modded picks, at the end of the day, right, the issue might just lie in a lack of a fourth player on a lot of the hiddens, on a lot of the hard rocks, which that just isn't a problem on the free mod pools. You know, you just need at most 2 of each mod on the map, and especially now that you mentioned, right, Falling Sprite and Doobly Vurit's ability to go easy on some of these maps definitely makes this free mod 2 pick a lot more interesting for Team China, and I'll be very interested to see, in fact, how this plays out. But ladies and gentlemen, let's jump into a certified banger. It's gonna be Origami Angel Say Less, the same diff, I believe, that was pulled in the grand finals of 6WC 2024.
Oh, Origami Angel, an absolute banger of a band to see here. Let's see if both of these teams are prepared for the density and the difficulty of the jumps that we see here. You're already seeing misses all around the board. Izari's Variel. Actually, I think that's a full reset from Indonesia, and only Falling Spirit and Kyomu, I think, to miss at the very beginning, as well as Aikmi. I think it's only Doobie with the FC still holding on. But at the very least, China has more recoveries, and more misses are coming in from Indonesia. It's a full reset from the right side right now, and China is just abusing them really, really hard with the double easy on, taking advantage of the multiplier, and going into the second half, the lead is already really, really massive for them.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the easy just makes the map easier. What can I say, man? This is just a absolute brutality from Team China. Getting that score lead even without the easy multipliers. How's that for a change? I mean, double hiddens from Indonesia, definitely not playing out so well for them, alongside, you know, the hard rock from Azaris, very definitely struggling in that aspect. And I mean, there is really nothing they can do. What is there to say? Last KI of the map. The density might increase for the easy players, but Doobly Vurit, I mean, just proving time and time again that they are the player to rely on. Hidden 3 coming out of the Hidden 3 in perfect stance to go into this free mod 2, demolishing this map with easy. Might have found an early miss, I can't be too sure, but going into this map, I mean, it is their point to win. What is there to even say?
Looking to consolidate the breakpoint. China knows what they must do. They're looking to be that impenetrable wall that Indonesia just can't seem to get past. And they'll get the 3rd point on the board with Indonesia nothing to answer back with. It is their next pick, but after a showing like that, where pretty much the only player from Indonesia to get a higher score than anyone against China was Variel, and he didn't even get a higher score than Doobie's Easy. That is a statement made. China has momentum. China is looking to take a sweep on the board. Let's see if Indonesia can find something to maybe shut that down.
Yeah, I think
Mhm.
on the side of Indonesia, right, there's a lot of unpreparedness, it seems, from their roster. I mean, aside from Variel, the rest of the team really fell a bit short on this map, which could potentially suggest, skill cap coming into play at this point, which definitely makes a lot of their supposed favorite modded picks look sort of shaky at this juncture.
Yeah, I would also like to briefly mention that that was actually a 1v4 by Doobie, given that the easy
What the
multiplier
fuck?
is
Okay,
2
man.
times,
Okay, man.
which is,
Okay, man.
absolutely
Alright.
incredible performance on the side of China.
Oh my god.
But yeah, as you mentioned, yeah, Indonesia definitely seemed to be getting quite skill capped on this pool. And this obviously applies to China's picks and mechanics, but it also applies to their favorite picks as well in the mod slots, right? So they really need to amp up their game and pick very carefully, given that there really aren't a lot of safe picks for them.
Yeah, they really need to get the momentum going in their favor. China has just been steamrolling through all of these picks, right? Getting that 3-point lead, even though China was the first pick, and a single break point might look a lot more scary on the side if you're on the side of Team Indonesia, just because they were the one who went first by nature of the sequence. But I mean, Indonesia need to get the ball rolling on their side. They need to pick something that they know they can win. I don't think a protect pick is really warranted for now, given how you usually want to save those for later on. But I mean, even though you say that they need to be careful, what options do they really have at the end of the day? They've already gotten all speed maps completely cut off from them. You probably don't want to go into DT4. You probably don't want to go into DT1. Given how you just got demolished on the free mods, all the modded picks look a bit shaky, but it seems as though they are gonna in fact go into the Hard Rock 1. An interesting pick, definitely. They're going for the Gambit Knight right now.
Yeah, this Hard Rock 1 is going to be your pretty standard Hard Rock 1. High BPM with a lot of bursts and aim. Just a test of Hard Rock consistency, right? And I think from Indonesia, this is a little bit shaky, I feel. I mean, all of their picks are a little bit shaky, but the thing with this pick is that it is very standard, right? And that means it's very accessible to every single player.
Oh, Hidden 3, man.
Right?
It's just like the Hidden 3.
Yeah, as you mentioned, if it plays out anything like this Hidden 3 from before, sorry, then, it's a little bit shaky. And I feel like this may even be more so, because this map is just aim, right? Aim and tapping, and that is what China is known to be quite good on. So I'm a little bit worried for Indonesia for this pick, but obviously the accessibility also applies for their side as well. So if they manage to field 4 confident players on this map, then it could very easily go to their side as well. But we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, 100%. I think the player that we are looking out for on the side of Team China definitely is going to be, I believe Ikmi. I'm not sure if they're going to be in for this map, given how it is Hard Rock, but they have been the ubiquitous, aim consistency mechanics player from the side of Team China. But we are not going to, in fact, see them. In fact, we're going to see Kyomu come in their place. Mike 23333 is going to be coming in, making that in-match debut alongside Shen XY and Creep. Meanwhile, on the side of Team Indonesia, we're gonna see WASD and Nacho coming back for their roster on this Hard Rock 1. And ladies and gentlemen, let's jump into The Order by Yuki Noah. I believe this map was pulled in 5WC, or at least the higher diff of it was pulled in 5WC as a Hard Rock 1. And this time it's gonna be in 6 APC, at least the lower diff. Map is all about mechanics, it's all about your hard rock comfort, all about that 205 BPM aim. So let's see how these players fare on this map.
Mechanics and aim. This is such a dangerous pick to go for. Indonesia seems like they're running out of options, but so far, not too bad. It's 2 to 2 in terms of the FC still remaining, but it's only the start of the map. But even then, look at the accuracy here. There's a lot of 80s, 89, 88. Necho is the highest accuracy on Indonesia with 92, and China is incredibly far past that with a 96 from Kyomu and 94 from Mike. They're gonna need to see some more collapses if they want to get this point. If they want to get this pick over to their side. They see the scores and they know it's incredibly close. Even combos right now. It's gonna be up to the KI to decide it.
Yep, and we are jumping into the KI full throttle. Mike, 2-3 and Necho are going to be the ones to fall. So does Azaris and Imagating alongside Kyomu on the side of China. And now Team China are going to be the ones to put their front foot on this map. Creep does find a miss, which is going to equalize things up. And now it is Strand XY versus WASD as the rest of the lobby crumbles. As the dust settles, it's going to be up to them, but unfortunately WASD is going to find a miss right before the break. Absolutely heartbreaking. And now Team China, I mean, it's just going to be up to Shren XY to continue this score lead.
It is all in his hands right now. This guy basically holds the map for his team. 500 and climbing. He's the combo lead of China. He is the score lead, and he can potentially be the 4th point on the board if he continues to hold this through the second KI. Trades coming from Creep and Necho, but that's not what matters. It's gonna need to be another collapse from Indonesia if China wants to secure this. That combo from Shen XY is doing so much damage. Imar goes down, traded by Mike. That's not what you want to see. But Yushen goes down, but it's a full collapse from everyone. The score lead is solidified, 140k to the Chinese, and Indonesia has no shot of bringing that back right here, right now, unless China loses their final combo and creep. Unless they find any more accuracy drops, Indonesia are going to lose their 2nd point on the board, and coming out of the first 4 maps with basically nothing to their side.
There is nothing that Team Indonesia can do. I mean, Shren XY might find that miss, but the rest of his team, as always, are there to back them up. Meanwhile, Team Indonesia, they have absolutely nothing in the tank to even counter a miss, or even think of beginning to counter this score lead from Team China. And once again, we see the teamwork from these players. We see the teamwork from this roster coming in time and time again, supporting each other throughout the map. Shren XY, despite not having the best accuracy, had the highest combo. Kyomu and Creep, as soon as Shren XY finds the miss, they are right there waiting to back them up. And it's just not something that Indonesia has. As soon as WASD found that miss, I mean, the rest of the team just crumbled right back behind him. I mean, that is just going to close out this Harvard 1 pick. And I think the situation at this juncture is very dire for Team Indonesia.
Yeah, as we get into the second ban phase now, China up 4 whole points, taking 2 of Indonesia's first 2 picks. Which, if you're Indonesia, that is a very dire situation to be in. And I mean, you obviously still have your Protect ready to be picked after the second ban phase, but you are going to need to get a lot more picks on the board if you want any chance of winning this match at all.
Yeah, 100% right. That losing out on 2 break points is really, really rough for Team Indonesia right now. It's in moments like these where I usually call in Zerilia for the assistance, but unfortunately we do not have them in the lobby today. The real question at this juncture is how will Indonesia navigate the match moving forward, right? China still has their protects on the board. They still have a lot of options at their aid. You know, we are going to this second ban phase, which is going to allow them to recuperate their mental. But at the end of the day, right, you already lost your hard rock. So the entire hard rock pool becomes dangerous. You still have your hidden 2 protect, all things considered, but your hidden 1 is banned. You lost on hidden 3, so which already closes out a lot of options. Mainly looking at that no mod 3, mainly looking at that no mod 4. All these control options become a lot more scarier to go into. And meanwhile, I mean, you still have the entire DT pool for China to attack you on. The Hard Rock 1 victory definitely opens up opportunities for China to attack on both No Mod 1, DT 1, and hell, with the Free Mod 2 victory, maybe even Free Mod 1, right? So, I think going from this point on, it's going to be a struggle to survive for Indonesia.
Absolutely. And I mean, yeah, China banning out that hidden 1, I do not think that is very surprising at all, given that Indonesia is mostly quite hidden favored. They have players such as Imar and Variel who could definitely pop off on those hidden maps if they were left open. So, not shocking to see the hidden 1, the last hidden map left for Indonesia, get banned out. And Indonesia going with the No Mod 2 ban, I do not think that is shocking either, given that, No Mod 2 is really the only super tapping heavy map left in the pool, and given how, not close that No Mod 5 was, it is no shocker to see this No Mod 2 getting banned out in the second ban phase.
Yeah,
as we get into Indonesia or China's next pick, sorry. I mean, they have the entire pool almost wide open to them. They have no mod 1, 3, 4 are still open, which, maybe not the best of picks for them, but given that Indonesia isn't super strong at the moment, they could easily go for it. But they actually go with their DT3 protect here.
Okay. Makes a lot of sense, right? You want to get that consistent pick on the board, and this DT3 is the best map to do so. You confidently win on No Mod 5, and you establish time and time again that you are the stronger team when it comes to tapping. There is really no thought that needs to be put in. Just go for your protect, get that consistent pick on the board, and bring that score lead even higher in favor of yourself.
Yeah, I mean, if China should hopefully win their protect, that will put them at a 5-0 lead, which is absolutely devastating if you're Indonesia, right? You have to claw back all those breakpoints, which is very, very hard to do for a team like Indonesia on this pool. But yeah, going on to the DT3 itself, this is going to be your sort of fast speed finger control pick, sitting way up there at 285 BPM, so very, very fast. But to compensate, there are really no bursts higher than a triple in this map. It is mostly about being able to control yourself, tapping triples and doubles on such a high BPM, and as well as maybe making sure your aim is not all over the place. The aim in this map, it isn't super hard. It's only like 3-star aim, but if you are not comfortable on this sort of BPM, you can easily find some sort of aim misses if you're not staying focused.
Yeah, this map in essence, right, is your 6-digit DT3 hard diff plus DT. So it has a lot of those really novice patterns that a lot of us are playing when we are 500k and whatnot. A lot of flowy patterns that really just go into each other rather comfortably. But when the BPM is cranked up to this extent, when the AR is 9.6, definitely you're gonna be kept on your toes a lot more. It's very easy to especially over aim on a map like this, 100%. But hopefully as the Good Luck Have Funs are coming out in chat, we should be able to jump into a certified banger. It's gonna be Porter Robertson, Get Your Wish. Let's jump straight into it.
DT3, you mentioned that the sort of lengths of the bursts that we're gonna see are very, very short. No, not much longer than a triple, but you take the BPM into account. It's not really one that's accessible to practically anyone in the 6-digit range. This is such a difficult sort of speed to get a hold of unless you're one of those extremely seasoned speed players. But it's such a rare skill set to see in this range, and you're already seeing the struggles coming in. Misses from Necho and Aikme, as well as Falling Spirit. It's currently slightly dead even. It's WASD with a little bit of a recovery, so kind of even on the combos there. But you see the struggle on Necho, so it's not helping them at all in the accuracy department. It's an 80k over to the red side. They're gonna need a lot more combo if they want to bring this back, but they find more misses than China is currently getting right now. 2 misses to 1. It's Falling Spirit, Kyomu, and Creep to hold, and as WASD and Imar miss as well, it's only Variable to kind of hold the fort for the Indonesians right now.
Yeah, we're jumping into the KI, and this is where the finger control gets a lot more intense. This is where the aim gets a lot more demanding. And I mean, the two FCs on the side of Team China are not letting out whatsoever. Second half of the KI kick sliders, bus sliders come in very well. Even though they're doing a very good job, it is just nothing compared to the onslaught that China is throwing at him right now. Kyomu might find a miss, but that lead is still comfortably on the side of Team China going into the break. Creep still holding down the fort with that FC. Meanwhile, Aikmi as reliable as ever. 400 combo and counting for Team China. I mean, there is nothing that Indonesia can really do as long as Creep continues to hold going into this last quarter. We're gonna get into another one of these more finger controlly sections, and Creep does find a miss, but I mean, Aikmi is still there, Falling Spirit is still there, and unfortunately Variel falls. And I think that will be the point in the bag for Team China. And I mean, what do you really expect, right? On China's very own Protect.
China, they've been looking forward to this. They have been looking to abuse the mechanics from the start, and in a similar fashion on the Nomad 5, it will once again be an uncontestable sweep. And they're looking to get the 5th point on the board. They're looking to sweep Indonesia in an even more brutal fashion than when they won against them in semis. Indonesia are running out of options. They're running out of room to breathe. If they do not win this next point, I feel like it's going to be the end of their run right here.
Yeah, an absolutely incredible score from Barrio, but unfortunately, just his team was unable to provide any sort of support. And I think, we've mentioned that this is going to be sort of the recurring theme. You need those carries to perform, but unfortunately, on Indonesia's side, it's just not enough for them to get any sort of leverage on China. But yeah, as we get into Indonesia's next pick here, I mean, what do they even go for, right? I mean, I think the only real option they have here is to go for this hidden 2, their Protect, right? Because if they go for any other pick could potentially be their last if China is able to take their pick and then win their own point. So I think, it's a bit of a no-brainer for Indonesia to go hidden 2 right here, right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing else you can do. Really, at the end of the day, all your options have been exhausted. You're really just trying to stay afloat right now with the hidden 2 pick. I mean, it is just unfortunate, right? The momentum has just completely shifted in favor of Team China at this juncture. 5 points up, going into mid-game with such a dominant lead, having crushed Indonesia and on every front. Holy shit, pardon me. But yeah, we do in fact see the hidden 2 pick coming in from Team Indonesia. The player that we're looking out for on this map, 100% on the side of Team Indonesia, is going to be Gading. But, I mean, they have really seemed to be struggling throughout this entire map, or this entire match. So, it's really a enigma as to whether they will be able to perform on a map like this. AR 7.7, CS 4.9, hidden 2. I mean, this is the anti-mod of all time, right? Consistency is key on a map like this.
You are absolutely right. Yeah, this hidden 2 is a lot more brutal than it initially looks, right? The main thing to watch out for is that high CS. It is sitting at CS 4.9, which, if you're not comfortable on sort of precision-y sort of things, then that can easily trip you up, right? And the other thing to watch out for in this map is that it's your standard reading hidden 2 with stack reading, of course, but there are a lot of patterns in this that are really hard to sight read. There are a lot of triples here which are really, really awkward to read on sight read. So this is just going to be a map of to see who actually practiced and isn't sight reading, which I hope everyone did because it's grand finals. But
insert sight reading at grand finals joke here. You love to see it, everyone. Yeah, but I mean, the situation, it's really do or die for Indonesia, right? If they lose this pick, I think the match is basically over at this point because Indonesia really does not have any options moving forward. And it's really rough.
It is just unfortunate because I do believe they are missing full ultra for this map, which was one of their main carries, right? So to see them not being able to show up for such a close match like that is just very, very unfortunate for them. But you
think of the domino effect, right? Losing one of your key players going to a matchup definitely affects the mental of everyone else on the team, which is really rough. But yeah, good luck, have fun's coming along in the chat, and all of us are just hoping that Indonesia can put their point on the board with this protect. Good luck, have fun's coming in chat, and let's jump into Fiend Disconnect, our unintended Nomi map in the pool.
Get into it's their protect. There's a reason why they wanted to keep this in the pool. Let's see if Indonesia can finally back that up, can finally find something at all in this map pool, because it's been a brutal one. They have not found a single point so far. They've lost 2 of their picks, and China has just abused them on their own picks. It's going to be a really, really rocky road of bringing it back. But you look at the score right now, it's the first time we've actually seen the score lead being blew over to the side of Indonesians.
What the hell are they doing?
It's a collapse. It's a collapse, Gami. They don't like this. It's Air 7.7. Probably it's probably the densest map, the densest HD2 that these players have seen so far in this bracket. And Indonesia, they're looking slightly more comfortable than China is right now, especially with Variel holding a 93, Imar with a 92 red item, and China has a lowest accuracy of 41 on Gensi.
So like, can we get a Tony ban for Aikmi and Shen XY for throwing in the match? I'm sorry guys, this is unfortunately blatant. Tony banned for at least 3 months moving forward. It's honestly a bit rough. Rip Aikmi and Shen XY. They had such promising futures ahead of them. Unfortunately, it looks like Indonesia wins by default. Unfortunately, like what can I say, man? What can I say, man?
Disqualified.
Anyways, jokes aside, it's clear to see that China does not enjoy this map whatsoever. Indonesia are just that much more confident and comfortable on a map like this, and really, this is probably the most polarizing map in the pool. Really, it's either if you can play either you can play this or you can't. Like I don't know, bro. I'm seeing like I mean it, and it's like tripping me out on the map in the match. Really out for the commentators here. But yeah, all things considered, last quarter of the map, there is really no commentary left to be done, right? China is just trolling on this pick.
Listen, they're not prepared for this. Indonesia kept this one, and thank God they did keep it, because Indonesia
Shen XY carrying his team with the dominant 50% act.
Cobbs.
Unfortunately, China has been DQ'd for disrespect and toxicity. Yeah, it's unfortunate, chat.
Valiant effort from Mike B and Shen XY, but Indonesia will shut the five straight points momentum that China has built up to get a first point on the board on their protect. Finally, something to this team side. Finally, a glimmer of hope. God damn. But still a lot left to go. China still has their next pick upon them. And you have mentioned a lot of options for them to go for. What are we gonna expect them to pick for their next one to shut Indonesia down?
I mean, Indonesia finally getting a point on the board here. I mean, all comebacks have to start somewhere. So hopefully they can claw some sort of score back for Indonesia, but we have to deal with China's next pick first. And I mean, we've already mentioned the entire pool is wide open for them. They have a monopoly on this pool, even. And, you know, I think given how inaccessible the DT pool is, with DT1 being AR 10.1 in, I think given how Indonesia relies on those sort of carry performances, China are looking to abuse maps that they know Indonesia does not have a 4-man roster for, right? So I'm looking at those sort of DT1 maybe, and maybe DT4. And we do in fact actually see the DT4 here. This is going to be your DT Tech pick, actually. A skill set that you do not see a lot in 6-digit tournaments. So it's nice to see finally some more skill set representation in 6-digit. But the gist of this map is mostly going to be about aiming sliders fast, right? This is your tech map, right? It's mostly about those sliders and those fast sliders on DT, which can easily trip you up if you are not careful. And there is also some light finger control in here to catch you off guard as well.
Yeah, 100% certified. Another certified banger in this pool. Sorry, it was in the pool showcase where I learned that that Terminite's name wasn't actually Terminite. It was actually Terminite, so I'm extra careful now. But yeah, Terminite known for their, known for their dubstep, and this map is no different. Certified banger. Once again, another one of these maps that's really just a hard diff slap with DT slapped on it. So a lot of the times you're gonna see these patterns that flow very simply into each other. But once again, it's going to be, the higher AR in conjunction with the higher BPM, which will speed up the overall slider velocity of the map, obviously DT. That is going to trip some of these players up. But China just has been going absolutely ham on all of the DTs thus far, or all of the speedy picks thus far. So yeah, this pick should be no stranger to them. And they are definitely looking to bring this match to match point with confidence. Let's jump straight into this map and let's see how it goes.
Yeah, I will say that this map, even though it is a DT map and China have been performing very well on the DT maps thus far, I do think it is the most accessible DT map out of the 4 DT maps in the pool, which is surprising given that DT Tech is not a skill set you see a lot in 6-digit at all. So most of these players will not have had much experience with DT Tech as a skill set, but given that is a hard diff, and as you mentioned, yeah, a lot of the patterning in this is quite simple. So I do think that, the scores will generally be higher, and less players will find difficulty in getting any sort of score on the board.
Yeah, 100%. But as the players are loading into the lobby, we will be jumping into Sleepless by Pixel Terror, Chime, and Terminite. Let's see how it goes.
DT4. You've seen China run DTs. You've seen them abuse it all throughout the bracket. Indonesia, without a star on their side, they're gonna need to find something right here to find any glimmer of hope on this DT4. It's only 2 minutes long. It's very, very short. But, anything can happen. Collapses can happen. And a pop-off can happen. Aikme missed that spinner, I think, or a note there. I have no idea what happened, but they still have the accuracy to their side. They still have a slight lead. You get the linears coming in. It's Shen XY to find the next miss. But it's still the lead because of just how much better they are on the accuracy. But with 4 combos still holding from Indonesia, not from Ganexo anymore, but still 3. It's still in contention. Varial missing, not gonna help them whatsoever. But Imar and WASD, they have the world on their shoulders, and Imar cannot carry it. WASD on his own against Falling Spirit and Kyomu. Shen XY on the recovery. They're gonna shut him down going to the second half.
It was looking very promising in that first half, right? With so many combos on the side of Team Indonesia and Aikme and Shen just stumbling here and there on a few of these patterns. DT Tech, once again, a very, very rough skill set for a lot of these players, but at the end of the day, Falling Spirit, Kyomu, and Shen XY looking to solidify the score lead going into this last third of the map. There is nothing that Indonesia can do, I think, at this point, unless we see a crumble from Team China come in, and it must come in fast if Indonesia want to even think about making this comeback. But all things considered, as we walk into the last quarter of the map, this is going to be another decisive point for Team China, taking the match to match point.
The depth in their play showing right now they're capable of playing the DTs this far at this SR, and with an 800k lead on the board, with Indonesia nothing to fight back with, China will secure match point. China will take themselves one step closer to facing the king in the winner's bracket.
Yep, WASD might have been able to hold that FC, but Falling Spirit says no, immediately denying it with an incredible 1.19 mil score, 99.3%
Almost
act.
1.2, bro.
What the-
The world when B-Ranker screening doesn't exist.
Oh man.
Not real.
But yeah, that is
Not
an
real.
absolutely stellar team score from Team China. Holding 2 FCs on a map like this is absolutely crazy. And, you know, now sitting at match point, what do Indonesia even do? Like, what maps do they even have left in the pool that they could, like, potentially even win? Like, there's the no mod pool, and then there's a hard rock pool, and then there's free mod 1. I mean, none of these have looked safe at all. They haven't been able to win the hard rock 1, so that kind of puts hard rock at a question mark. And then no mod 1 is aim, which you do not want to go against China against. No mod 3 and 4, we have not seen. Oh wait, hang on, is it?
Wait,
Wait.
chat, we're getting no more one, chat, we're getting no more one.
No, we're not. No, we're not. No, we're not.
Oh.
That's
Oh.
China's trolling. China's
Oh.
No
trolling.
mod 1, no
We're
mod
not
3.
get-
China's
No
trolling.
more one, chat.
Thank God. But yeah, I mean, the control skill sets haven't been touched much at all, apart from like the hidden
Hidden 3?
3, I guess. And I guess you could say the DT4 is also sort of control-y. But I don't know. I feel like maybe the only pick that might be slightly Indonesia favored is going to be the free mod 1, right? They're favored on the free mod on paper, given that Indonesia is the mod favored team. But this free mod 1 is just a bit iffy for them, given that it is quite high BPM, if I remember correctly, and features quite a prominent tapping element. So, I don't know, there's just no picks that scream even a sliver of hope for Indonesia, to me at least.
Yeah. I mean, they're really taking their time to think through that pick, but at the end of the day, they are gonna go into Nova 4. What a fucking... Okay, I was not expecting that one. I'll be completely honest, I was not expecting that one. What the fuck?
Oh, man.
Yo, chat, what are we doing, chat? What are we doing?
Oh my god.
What are we... Stay with me, what are we doing?
What are we doing, man? This No Mod 4, maybe the hardest map of the pool. In my
No, it is the hardest map of the pool.
Aw.
This shit is harder than Hidden 2.
This shit is genuinely, absolutely
6.4
insane.
star map in a 5.8 star pool.
The amount of nerfs this had to go through,
And
is-
it's still too hard.
It's genuinely, it's still the hardest map in the pool, even after all those fucking nerfs. But
Yeah, for reference, this map got hit by the rework, which bumped its SR to like 6 stars, even though initially it was at 5.9, it went down to 5.7. Because of the rework, no 6 digits, so we changed the SR of the pool. It had to go down even further, and then it got buffed by the SR, the SR rework, and then we tried to nerf it again, and it was still too hard. Anyways, this is gonna be a custom map by Kokoyu, and huge shout outs to Kaya Maniac as well for the custom background. There's a lot of this of Raise Your Hands, and I think this is probably the most interesting take
Raise Your Hands.
that I've seen on this map.
Yeah, this is a very interesting no mod 4 to say the least. You know, it's very like movement slider tech heavy, right? It's not really a sort of skill set you see a lot in 6 digits. I feel like 6 digit are mostly used to more slider, traditional slider aim or generally just control-y circle tech, right? But this like combines the slider elements and control elements, so a very, very interesting pick here. And with Indonesia picking this, I think what they want to they're banking on those carry performances, right? This map is very, very tricky for all players, and I think you're looking at players such as Emar especially to hopefully be able to pop off against the carries of China. But we'll just have to see as we get into this absolute jammer of a Nomad 4 here.
An absolute nightmare, but no more for.
Let's see if Indonesia can manage to keep up with the brutality of this map. We have seen practically almost in every map the same 4 players that we see right now. Imar, WASD, Necho, and Veriel. Can you make magic happen? Can you potentially find another point on the board to maybe spark any sort of hopes of getting a reverse sweep,
No.
of forcing tiebreaker? The misses come in. It's slightly in favor
here
to
we go.
Indonesia. Imar trades it, and you already see the tech parts shredding practically all of these players. It's only WASD to hold for Indonesia, and it's 2 combos, Aikmi and Falling Spirit, the core star players of the Chinese roster, doing God's work. Falling Spirit with a 99 accuracy. Aikmi won't fall, Falling Spirit will fall, but the accuracies, they have done so much. But it's Imar and Varial to hold.
Yeah, accuracy is a valuable asset and
my God.
a rare commodity on this map, given how these sliders are absolutely brutal.
Yo.
In terms of its accuracy, I mean, real 6-digit tournaments, right? Imar Gaming, however, gonna lead the pack with the largest combo in the lobby, the only thing keeping
Imar.
Indonesia into the game, and he holds till
Oh my God.
the second third of the map with that 450 combo. This is their time to shine, but the question is that gonna be enough? And it is, and they'll definitely need a lot more from where that came from if they want to even think about making this comeback. So the question is, will they be able to do it or not?
Imar, the cards are all in his hand. He has the opportunity to make something happen here. That combo instrumental to Indonesia's life right here in the bracket.
Here we go.
Final sweep. It's the next KI to come in, Imar. The world on shoulders.
Final KI, final KI.
It's all gonna count on this. The sliders, the velocity as fast as it is, it's so incredibly brutal. And he is not gonna find enough. It will shift by just a moment, but it's still incredibly close. Actually, it's Indonesia that find a bit more than the Chinese are. It's 20k over to the blue side. They are just holding on by a sliver left. The Chinese are absolutely suffering here. They're unable to find anything. They're getting shut down. They're collapsing under the pressure. They're getting buried under the ground. And Indonesia, although they will find the misses, it's Imar once again to hold the recovery, to find something to get Indonesia another point on the board.
Forest is
It's coming back. It's coming back. Is it gonna be enough? It's 8k. It's 8k.
That's not real. This is not real, chat. This is not real. The forest is burning, but when the dust settles,
It's 6k.
I can't even say. I can't even say anything. I mean, it's trickling in favor of the left side.
No.
Indonesia might have the lead, but as the dust settles,
No.
it looks like it's gonna be a spin to win, and China will emerge victorious.
God, man.
Imar Gaming might fight. He might throw everything he's got into the match. He might throw everything he's got. He might raise his hands to the highest point he can. But at the end of the day, it is the teamwork, it is the tenacity of China that will be allowing them to secure that final point on the board and take themselves to meet their maker. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we will be seeing China versus Philippines for the final matchup of the 6-digit Asia Pacific Cup. What a matchup! Holy.
That was as close as it could have gotten. but China, they will prove their dominance over the Indonesians. They will show that they'll show the pretty much the main reason why they're in the podium in the first place, why they stand to be one of the favorites of the bracket. They'll prove to be that wall for the Indonesians that they just can't overcome. And with with them being in control of their destinies, with them not surrendering, not backing down, once again, another chance to kill the king of taking the trophy, they will bury Indonesia beneath the dirt and raise themselves to the top 2 spot.
Yep. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We will be tuning in for the final match of 6 APC next week. But before we move into that, what a good song to end this matchup on. I love Psyche. Holy crap. Anyways, we will be having a few show matches here and there. I believe we will be having our first show match. This is the All Stars X Staff APC Staff Team show match that will be happening on 11 UTC Sunday. So do stay tuned for that one if you want to check it out. A lot of very notable faces, a lot of unsung heroes of the 6-digit Asia Pacific Cup. The backbones of the tournament will be participating in that. So do hop on if you wanna to cheer them on or whatnot. Meanwhile, on the flip side, we will be having a public show match that is, or at least that is the plan, planned for next week. This will be open to everybody. Hopefully, there is no foreseeable way that this could go wrong. But it is planned to be a battle royale stage. The specifics are still being discussed, so everything is still to be decided. So yeah, do react to the message in announcements if you are interested in joining. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, once again, congratulations to Team China for a utterly dominant victory on the side of Team Indonesia. Hopefully, you know, they can move forward from this match and bounce off even stronger going into their rematch against the Philippines. I mean, look, I've been saying this throughout the entire tournament, but Philippines has a good track record of being favorites to win and just completely falling short in 6 digits. So like, guys, look, if we just, you know, disconnect Irex Madrique's PC, remember Core 6, you know, remember what happened in Core 6, right? His house got flooded. I don't think that was Irex, but something happened to Irex Madrique and he couldn't play Core 6 Grand Finals. I mean, we just need something like that to happen. But anyways, Will, do you have any last words for the commentary booth before we close it out?
Oh man, that was... no, I really don't have much to say. I'm just speechless after that no mod 4. But yeah, congratulations to China, and let's hope for an interesting match against the Philippines.
Yep, that's right. Gabba, do you have anything left to say to the viewers?
China, momentum on their side. Will they make something happen, or will the Philippines prove their dominance in the 6-digit scene and shut them down with maybe another sweep? Will the curse of Ra be fulfilled, or will the Philippines just sweep everyone in the bracket? It's going to be one more match tomorrow, and stay tuned for the other show matches as well.
That is right. As we draw ever so closer to crowning the strongest country of the Asia Pacific. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the 6-digit Asia Pacific Cup. My name has been Gammy Crayola. Joining me in the commentary booth, the lovely Gabba SS Wilwam. And of course, we cannot forget our lovely streamer Fraon, as well as our referee GS Break, 2 GOATs. So incredibly important in this Grand Finals broadcast. But ladies and gentlemen, that is all I have for today. Till next time, till the show match tomorrow, this has been Project Hexagon, and we will see you in the next stream. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.